Do you struggle with making decisions, especially the tough ones? Well, I am Reid from ReidAboutSex.com, and this is Kamala Devi from KamalaDevi.com, author, mother, educator, lover to many. Perhaps you've seen her work on Showtimes, polyamory, married and dating. Perhaps you've attended her workshops or even checked out her books. The latest one being Sacred Slut Sutras, and we'll talk about that in a second. But Kamala is hanging out in my home, and we had a conversation, and I wanted to grab this piece and record it because I think it's super, super useful. But first, since I'm now realizing I haven't let you talk yet, say hi to them.
It's a pleasure to be here and to share with our friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to the intro that I did for you?
Yeah, that was great. I actually came up just as a really non-professional thing, just to hang out with you and
see some other sex educators. Madison Young was doing her one-woman show.
Yeah, and Drag King show, and tonight there's Bawdy Storytelling.
Bawdy Storytelling.
So this is how I like to spend my my weekend with my beloved Michael.
Yeah.
We're celebrating our 14-year anniversary, and that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, and Michael's here. Say hi, Michael.
Hello, hello.
There you go. That was Michael. So quickly, before we lose everyone, the piece I wanted to talk and get you to tell them was this piece about decision making.
Yeah.
And so
the decision that I made to stay in my marriage, because right now Michael and I are like in this glorious place of like we are committed and we've stayed together, and that actually was like in question a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And so Reid's like, well, what made the difference? And I had gone into, tons of therapy, tons of pros and cons, tons of looking at possibilities, and it was very, very linear until I actually like dropped into a shamanic space of like, what does my soul, like what's the full expression of my soul? Mm-hmm. And for me, that looked like actually having a conversation with a future self. So I looked at, well, let me dialogue with a future self that stays with my beloved and is married.
Yeah, the future you that stays married.
Yeah, and then let me also, and see how that feels and see how, what that looks like. And then let me have a conversation in an alternate multiverse with the part of me that is, the author and the entrepreneur who like leaves her husband and child and goes off and does all these other crazy things. And it was really telling for me, like, ooh, my growth edge and my fullness and like really my desire and pleasure is to stay, and work through the tough times that I was going through in my marriage. And that just was so obvious in that dialogue. And it really healed a part of me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that piece this is the piece I wanted to talk, because I'm like, oh my goodness, like I wouldn't think like that and approach it like that. For people who are like, oh my goodness, I've never thought of this. Could you give any kind of scripts or how to have that dialogue? Like, you're like, you future self. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, the example I know is sometimes someone's like, wow, I'm not real happy in my job, but it's making a lot of money. And how do I know if I want to leave it or not, is to like really take some time, and most visualization is effective when you're relaxed and get into sort of a trance state, almost like a dreamlike state. And so after going into that dream, you're really looking at fast forwarding in your timeline and imagining, if I left my job, what would open up? And it's not from a linear place. It's like, imagine the one who left her job and is really expressed and happy and best possible alternative. Yeah. And you want to look at the best possible alternatives of both scenarios. Yeah. Because ultimately we're here to make the most of every situation. So you project into the best possible future and you dialogue with that one. Yeah. And the dialogue sounds like, what are you feeling? How are you needing?
Yeah. So you're talking directly to yourself.
Yeah.
In this kind of way.
And and you might want to just simply say, if nothing else, it's like, what do you want me to know? And it's like, just be open to hearing what that aspect of you might have what insight they might have to share.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yay. It's pretty simple.
And then for my Uber geeks, they're like, how long should they, like, they're going to be like, am I doing it long enough? Like, how, I mean, everyone's different.
Everyone's different for sure. Like, you're a really quick processor. Like, you're quick. You're like, okay, got it, move on. And that like, if that's if the message comes through and you feel complete, awesome. And if you're like nothing's coming, like deepen into it, relax, like stay open.
Maybe do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you so
right.
much. I thought that was really important.
I hope it helps. You know, if you, I mean, it's really powerful for the big decisions, like looking at, you know, career choices or where you want to live, or, you know, like the big ones. And I'm really happy that I've made the choice that I made, and hope that other people can do this in their relationships as well.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I know you've been kind of like retired from teaching for a while,
sabbatical,
although you've been super busy, and at some point you may start teaching again. So where can people find you? What's your website?
So my website is kamaladevi.com, and I just...
How do we spell that?
Kamaladevi. Thank you.
And tell us quickly about your fabulous new book, and I'm giving them a chance to see it.
I just thought it was fun. You know, from one sacred slut to a sex geek here, I gifted Reid my new book, and you're seeing actually probably a limited edition copy, because this cover is going to be changed.
Facebook doesn't like the nipple.
Right. It's actually Amazon doesn't like the nipple.
Oh, Amazon. Sorry, Facebook.
No, they've got other problems.
Free the nipple.
Things that I post.
Okay, and they can get this on KamalaDevi.com.
Yes, go to my website, get the book. It's a fantastic.
And the 2 sentences on what the book's about.
Art, poetry, erotic insights.
Some
it's
great
like
drawings in there by a really awesome artist.
Yeah, so I'm thrilled. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Leave comments. What do you think about the decision-making process visualization technique that Kamala Devi shared with us?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. Thanks for tuning in, Sex Geek. If you would like to continue with the brain sex, do me a favor and click subscribe right here. If you'd like to watch me on social media, that's where you're going to go. Next video, maybe? And if you really would like your own Sex Geek t-shirt, please click right here, right now. Boop. No, really, like...